So if we are predominantly seekers of truth, um, masculine is a masculine, and we all have masculine inside us, are seekers of truth. And our seeking that goes on internally is a constant search for the truth, to know who we are, where we are, what our purpose is, where we came from, where we're going. And if we don't get a satisfying answer, then we'll never really be satisfied. And if we don't search for it and we don't seek it and we don't start that search for it, then we're just going to have this root feeling of just anxiety and just being stuck. Um, and we'll lose our wonder with the world, and we'll lose a sense of excitement, and life will become mundane, and we won't have that burst of energy that brings light into this world. And we were brought up completely conditioned to be of mind, to be of thinking mind. And we haven't known really anything else for our entire life. You didn't grow up in your heart space feeling what's around you. You grew up thinking about feeling and thinking about this and thinking about what your purpose is and thinking about thinking. And because you can't find yourself in your mind, if you're in your mind looking for yourself, you'll never find yourself. And you'll never be able to feel into your deepest, darkest self and transcend those feelings if you're in your mind. And it's not a question of changing, it's a question of transcending. It's, can we transcend ourselves and our attention and our awareness from our mind into our body and into our heart space center, into our truest self? And our mind can only create circumstances, and circumstances are fleeting, they're never the same. And as a predominantly masculine energy, you are a seeker of truth, and you're committed to knowing what your purpose is and who you are. And every day not living that purpose, it feels like a wasted day in the life of a truly masculine core individual. And how we get out of our mind and into our heart space center is basically the journey of awareness and presence. And when we are able to transcend our circumstances and the thoughts in our head and be bigger than that and be the heart space center, then we can become love and presence and awareness of circumstances and of the feminine and of what happens. And there's always this feeling of you that goes on of I am this and I am this feeling, and I'm trying to put my finger on what this feeling is, and I can't escape this feeling. And every escape, that if this feeling isn't pleasant, I'm going to try to escape it. If I'm bored, I'm going to escape that feeling. And I'm going to do certain things, watch TV, masturbate, to try to cover up that feeling, do drugs, to cover up that feeling that is inside me. Instead of transcending that feeling, I'm going to cover it up, and I'm going to build on top of that unpleasant feeling for as long as it is, until I seek the truth. And if you identify with the circumstances in your life, then you're identifying with something that is not your predominant core. If you're a masculine, have a masculine core, and you identify with the circumstances that happen in your life, then you're never going to be able to escape that and see the truth of the masculine and of where the masculine lies. And as the watcher of what happens, the masculine is the witness to it all. There has to be something that watches the feminine. There has to be something that is able to stand still enough to observe what happens around it. Because if we all were just running around like the feminine, there would be nothing to contrast the changing circumstances. And what is the contrasting of the changing circumstances, of the changing moment, of your changing body, of your changing thoughts? That core is your masculine core. And growing up identified with your circumstances and identified with your mind and the feminine, you're never able to get out and root yourself in that core, in your core. And that's what the journey is that journey is taking your presence from up here and from thought to thought to thought to addiction to grab, to then being able to sit back rooted in your witness and watch what happens and what goes wrong, what happens around you. And you're able to cultivate a love that, this is my presence and my awareness and my consciousness, and this is my being, and everything that I witness around me, I can influence, I can have a positive effect on this which is around me, because I'm a masculine energy. I'm the core. I'm what that never changes. And if you go all the way with that, and you really sit down and you start breathing in and out, and you put your awareness into your abdomen going up and down, and at that same time you're going to have thoughts of, well, my hands are cold and it's cold outside and I'm hungry. That's circumstances. That's feminine, because that changes, because you're hungry and you're not hungry. Right? You're cold and you're warm. You're duality, you're both. And the true masculine purpose and energy is to be the watcher of that. And if you're grabbing at that, then you're never going to be able to find that what it is that is inside you that is the truest truth. What is that deepest truth inside you? And as a masculine, predominantly masculine energy, it is to be the watcher and the witness, and to transcend those addictions, and to transcend what it is that makes you grab. And once you're able to settle into that, you settle into home. That's home for you, for the masculine energy. That's home. And you're able to watch the feminine, whether it's a female in your life, or it's a circumstance, or if it is a thought, and you're able to watch and sit and be with it. The positive and the negative, the light and the dark. You're able to sit with all of it. If you only want to sit with the light and you hide the dark in your life, and that's not your truest self. You're still running, you're still changing, you're still trying to run away from what it is, that feeling that is innate inside you. And at some point, if you haven't faced it already, you're going to have to face that dark side of you. Those addictions that you've covered up, your entire life, and the things you don't like about yourself. And the only way to really transcend that is to get out of what creates your circumstances and to be the observer of the circumstances. And when you're the observer of the circumstances, and you can contemplate death and know that you do die, at one point you will die. And you don't know when you're going to die. The how you will die and the when is left up to the universe. So you have to give up some sort of control. Those are circumstances. You can't control your circumstances. So knowing that you're mortal and you will die will allow you to live now, instead of waiting for a circumstance to change so you will love then. If you say to yourself, I'm going to wait for a circumstance to change and then I will love, you're identifying with the mind. You're identifying with circumstances, because you can love now. If you raised your awareness and your knowledge and understanding of the truth, because you are a seeker of truth. And when you take your awareness out of your mind and put it into your heart space and your body, and you put it into everything, and you realize that you are greater than just what goes on in your mind and your circumstances and your thoughts, you can rest. You can be eternal at home. And when you're at home, what else is there to do but to just be, and to be love, and to be presence and awareness of what goes on around you? Because when you're identifying with circumstances, you can never identify with what is deeper in you. You're missing the truth. But you are a seeker of truth, and if you are committed to that path, you will find that truth. And whether or not that truth involves creating a little more suffering for you and people around you, that's up to you. At some point, you're just going to have to look back at the parts of you that you don't like and start loving that part of you. And to take your awareness out of your changing thoughts and into your true masculine core. And that will allow you to feel your purpose. Your purpose, you can't find you looking in your mind, and you can't find your purpose thinking about it. You have to feel your purpose. Your purpose you can't put into words. Your purpose is a feeling. And that feeling creates thoughts about that feeling, but it doesn't start with thinking. It starts with your feeling. It starts with your connection. And when you don't feel connected, that's because you're lost in your circumstances and in your mind. And when you start to take your awareness into it, you start to feel what it is that creates life and what creates you, and see that before you existed as you and you were named to be X, this is you, this is your name, you were light, you were a source, you came from the source energy that creates everything. And you can't think about source energy, you can only feel source energy through your heart space. And when you start to transcend that, you will find your true home.